Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Two for Talking podcast. I'm your host, Corey Tusick. We've got comedian Joe Bartnick. You can check him out tomorrow, February 17th, at the Shamrock Comedy Club in Fort Lauderdale. He'll also be at the Cadence Club in North Park. It's a great location on March 26th. And we have Josh Yohe with The Athletic, as always. And thank you to our sponsors. Shout out to Bill Neofis and of Neofis Insurance and Danny's Pizzas and Hoagies. So let's do an opening shift here. I'm sure we'll talk some Penguin stuff, but the only thing going on in the hockey world right now is the Olympics. Although you wouldn't know that because the NHL isn't allowed to share any of the videos. But is it just me, guys, or does the Olympics tournament seem a little flat this year? Kind of like that 7-Up that you let all the gas out of and forgot about for 12 hours. It's just like it tastes like it, but it's not. It doesn't have the bubbles. I don't know. Maybe it's the structure. Maybe there just hasn't been any good hockey games so far. What say you, Joe?
I agree, Corey. I just think that, I was not to name drop, but the old 2-9er was hanging out around iHeart the other day, and it's just blah. Right. I don't put words on it, but it's just the fact that we were so stoked about the Penguins and they came off the big win in Buffalo. And I just want more Penguin hockey. I just love NHL hockey way more than Olympic hockey. And I just love the Pittsburgh Penguins more than almost anything on earth. And they were just taken away from me for this slap job. I mean, it's 3 weeks of boring hockey, Josh, for like 3 games. Everyone's just waiting for U.S., Canada, or maybe U.S., Sweden, and maybe Canada, somebody else. It's like, that's exactly why you need Gino and Ovi. So at least there's 3 good effing teams.
No, you're right. There's a competitive disparity. Like your Italians put up the good fight against Sweden for a couple of periods, Joe.
We were right there. The Dagos were rolling 4 lines.
But I mean, watching the Americans against Germany or the Americans against Denmark, for God's sake. Canada against France was really painful to watch. I'm sorry. It's not good hockey. You have a couple of teams that really matter and the rest don't. You might see a shocking upset. That's what you're looking for or you're watching for, but the odds are very much against it. I hope we get Canada, U.S. in the final. I think that's what everybody wants. I think it would be a fascinating game, but I think that's the biggest problem. I also think, I've always enjoyed the Olympics in general, not just hockey. I just enjoy the Winter and the Summer Olympics generally. But I enjoy them a lot more when they're in our time zone. I don't want to watch hockey at 6 a.m. The gold medal games at 8 a.m. next Sunday. I get it logistically that they're 6 hours ahead of us. They're doing what they got to do. But I do think it takes something away from the enjoyment. And I just don't really like the Olympic rules in general. If somebody wants to fight, let them fight. That doesn't bother me. I've been watching North American hockey my entire life. And we'll get into this, but it kind of feels like Canada's just so much better than everybody else. Like the Canadian men's team, looks like the Globetrotters at this point. It's pretty outrageous how good they are. But so you add it all up. I still watch the games. I still get some enjoyment out of them, but I don't feel the buzz that I felt in 2010 and 2014 when I was watching the best on best competition. I would agree with that for sure.
And Josh, there's so many points to the enjoyment level of these games. One is ESPN can't show the highlights. The Athletic can't even run a highlight in a story. And if by chance you don't pay for Peacock, which I don't, I can't watch anybody but the United States. They showed Sid in McKinnon once because, hey, who gives a damn about anybody else, basically, but the Canada? If you're just a hockey fan, that's who you want to see. All fairness to Brock Jackson, you want to see Jesus and Sid and McKinnon and McCarr. So
that's right.
That was like the big tease. I can't wait. Oh no, it's luge or bobsledding or I don't know, dancing and skating, and it's a sad someone has cancer. It's just where's Canada? Where's hockey? And it's you can't go back and watch the highlights, which means it's really worthless for the NHL. And I say this every 4 years. It doesn't grow anyway. People go, if it doesn't go to hockey, then you're not a hockey fan.
Oh, yeah. I was talking, this must have been 15 years ago. I remember I was interviewing Gary Bettman and I asked him about the Olympics. and you could just see the look on his face how much he hates the Olympics, and I don't blame him. There's nothing in it. We talk about it a lot. That there is no evidence that suggests their TV ratings pick up after the Olympics, because they don't. People are going to get hurt. We already saw Kevin Fiala out for the year, really bad injury for the LA Kings right after they get Panarin, they're going all in. Then one of their most important players is out for the year, and kind of a freaky play, but still, it happened. It was awful. More people are going to get hurt. That's the way it is, and it completely screws up the schedule once every 4 years. I mean, listen, Gary in the league let them do it because the players want that, and it's a bargaining chip. So there's no more lockouts or strikes. I mean, that's the way. And when you look at it that way, like, I'll take it.
Frankly, that's all
You're
it is.
absolutely right, Josh. Per Elliot Friedman, the second most trusted man in hockey podcasting and journalism, he said that, hey, if some of you guys are dinged up and someone's don't know if they're going to play or if they want to set a game, you have to let them and bite your tongue, because the players gave into the league on a lot of other things to make sure that they can go to the Olympics. So if someone wants to take a Thursday night off against Ottawa, they're let them do it, because they gave up a lot. That's per Bettman.
No, it's true. I mean, I have never talked with a player who wasn't passionate about wanting to have the opportunity to play in the Olympics. It's literally one of the biggest issues for them, probably right after money and safety. That's probably seriously, that's the next thing.
You mean money? It's not safety, obviously.
All right. I mean, they all want the opportunity, and the league is like, all right, we don't need any more work stoppages. Fine, go once every 4 years. Have fun, knock yourselves out. I think the fans like it. Obviously, it generates a lot of interest. But I got to be honest, I think a lot of people, myself included, were probably making fun of the whole Four Nations concept a year ago. But I felt like more people were into that.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's because U.S. and Canada. Like, at this point, I'd rather U.S. and Canada just play like a Summit series, like play a best of 7 series. I'd much rather watch that than Denmark losing 10-1. I understand that people in Denmark would disagree, but man, the hockey fan in me, that would be a lot more enjoyable.
I mean, like,
yes, and just somehow cut the deal with these, they're basically, like from a Mike Myers movie, kind of evil people behind the Olympics.
Oh yeah.
Cut the deal with them. Say, hey, we're going to play the Olympics, but we're going to play them in North America. So whatever town you're in, it's still going to be the Olympics. It's still going to be the gold medal, and that's where it's going to be. And Russia's going to play them, and Yagerville's going to play in them, and it's going to be the 8 best countries. And I don't give a damn what other countries, Switzerland or whatever. Who cares? Just get the 8 best teams to play.
But you're doing like the service to the French, like that guy, the goalie, like sitting there shaking Sid's hand, like, I can't believe I'm playing against Sidney Crosby. It's like that game meant nothing. It did nothing for me.
No, I mean, it was like watching an all-star game. Only one of the teams showed up. That's what it felt like. It had that feel of, in terms of intensity level. And I don't like that all of the teams advanced to the playoff stage either. That, I mean, I don't know why that is. It doesn't make sense to me, really. So even these games tomorrow, a lot of them are just kind of meaningless. I don't know.
It's communism, which is funny because they kept the communist country out. Everyone gets to play. It's just ridiculous. It's a waste. This is a waste of a week and a half. This can all be done in 1 week.
And I feel like, though, like, I like international games. I just don't like the way this tournament goes about it. Like, there is something undeniably cool about seeing McDavid and Crosby and Celebrini and Makar and McKinnon all on the same team. Like, it's like watching the Dream Team in '92. Like, all the greatest players in the world are on this team. It has a big event feel anytime Canada plays. There's got to be a better way to capitalize on that, I would think, because it and if they play the Americans, we're all going to be excited to watch that game. I don't think there's any doubt about that. The real problem for these Olympics, though, guys, like, what if the United States loses to Sweden? Like, then it's just which could happen for sure. And that's like the ultimate buzzkill. Then I think Canada just waltzes to the gold medal, and there's literally maybe not a signature game to get excited for in the whole tournament. That would be a disaster.
Well, the first thing you would do would be to put Pursuta on suicide watch.
For sure.
He said Brock Nelson's the greatest goal he's ever seen. I'm like, you were alive for Ruzioni. I mean, it's literally like getting excited to watch the Dream Team and watch Jordan dunk on someone from Ethiopia. I mean,
right.
Yeah. To me, it just seems like they've kind of lost their way. You know, like this happens in sports all the time. Like the Winter Classic kind of did it. You know, like where they just it's like they kind of lose what the magic was originally. You know, you almost need to, like, it would have been great to have US and Canada play in the same group. You know what I mean? Just have two groups. Like figure out a different formula that makes up these first games were absolutely I tried watching, you know, like the two lesser teams play each other on Peacock because I was like, oh, at least this will be a game, you know, like it's just I don't know. I mean,
the bottom line is I watched 4 AHL games in the last 10 days. The AHL and the KHL is better than Olympic hockey unless it's America, Canada, or the Russians. And that's just the way. Yeah, Finland gives Sweden the game, and hey, it's fun to see Rantanen versus Canada. Yeah, but in reality, I'd rather watch Wilkes-Barre play the Phantoms.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. It's true, and we're all kind of waiting for the Americans and Canadians to play each other. I mean, that'll be. But you're right, Corey. I wish they would have been in the same group. At least that would have been a game to get fired up for. Sweden and Finland played. That's fine, but I don't think many people in North America really care about that, quite honestly. So, yeah, it's a real problem. It's almost like for any of you high school football fans out there, look at the high school football scores on most Friday nights these days. There's like maybe 2 or 3 really good games, and most of them are like 56-0. It's amazing. There's the haves and the have-nots, and the disparity has really changed when professionals first started going to the Olympics in the 90s. Like I remember when the Czech Republic won in 98 with Hasek and Yager, like anybody could have won that tournament. The Canadians, the Americans, the Czechs, the Russians, like it was the Swedes. It was so wide open. And I just feel like it's a shock if Canada doesn't win this one. And maybe the U.S. can, but other than that, nobody really has that much of a chance, and that doesn't make for a good tournament. And you're right. I pissed some people off on Twitter the other day because I did say that I think we're probably ignoring the fact that in the last 30 years, Russia hasn't been that great in these tournaments. They've gotten steamrolled by Canada a lot. But that said, it'd be a way better tournament if they were in it. And this would have been one of their better rosters. It would be another team that would have a chance to win it. And even if not necessarily a huge chance, but a chance nonetheless. And Russia's a natural villain. They're fun to root against too. Let's not forget about that. So this tournament does badly miss them. I don't think there's any question.
Well, I have 2 points to jump off. One, I'm going to go back to your older point, which I thought was brilliant, was the fact that every team makes it to the second round means that none of these first round games have any consequence. If every game was sudden death, then Finland versus Latvia would be important.
Oh yeah, it's all for seeding.
It'd be like March Madness. There would be people would be jumping and diving in front of pucks. It'd be much more interesting. Your second point about Russia, obviously, know where I stand. But the thing is, too, is especially if Putin backed off, which maybe he can't. But the reason I think they've been uncompetitive a bunch recently, or just they haven't been allowed to play recently, is they tried to force these KHL guys just to prove a point.
Yes.
The KHL was just as good as the NHL. And we're going to send it'd be Gino and Ov and one other guy mixed in. Now, I think every podcast the last 10 weeks have read the Russian roster, and they're all NHL guys.
Yeah.
And if they don't force in some guys that are playing in Medicare, only Canada has better forwards. I'm sorry, Sully. I'll take your Vincent Trocheck and I'll give you a Kirill Kaprizov.
No, that's a really good point, especially in Sochi in 2014 when half the team was KHL guys that you had never heard of. Like, there were obviously a lot of things going on behind the scenes there, but you're right. Their forwards and their goaltenders, especially, absolutely world class. We all know that. It sucks that they aren't there. I'm sorry. I know there are some people out there for political reasons that are deeply insulted at the idea of Russia being in this tournament, but I know Evgeny Malkin. I know what kind of a person he is, And I know how much it would have meant for him to have one last chance to play in the Olympics. And I think about him a lot during this tournament, and I feel bad because I know it's got to be driving him absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
I wanna jump off of that because our other hero, our other god that plays on our the only team I really care about, he's on Canada, and he was pro the fight that Tommy Wilson was in, as he defended. McKinnon got run.
That was a dirty hit. It
It was a
was.
dirty hit, and Tommy stepped up. And I want to tell you something: if somebody ran Sid the way they ran McKinnon, I would want Tom Wilson to execute that guy.
That's
on
right.
the ice. If anyone isn't for that, please quit being a hockey fan.
And it worked out perfectly because he got handled a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I had no problem with what Wilson did.
You gotta
And
defend your teammates, Josh.
not only was it a cheap hit, but it was 9-2 with about 10 minutes left in the third period. That was completely uncalled for. And I mean, yeah, why is Wilson on the team? I mean, that's not the only reason, but that's part of it. And yeah, listen, I have plenty of issues with Tom Wilson and things he's done over the years. I had no issue with that at all. I guarantee you Sid appreciated it because I know how he thinks when
He
it comes
did.
to those kinds of
Told me
matters.
this thing,
And
he appreciated it.
yeah, and it was just a rotten hit. I guess Wilson's not. It's weird. Like, you're not allowed to fight in the Olympics. So I guess you get kicked out of the game if you fight, but he's not being suspended or anything. So there were only 5 minutes left in the game, so it's not a big deal anyway. It's fine.
Well, the French guy, he turtled. He wanted to get down, and then he was like, he was the old Cliff Harris in Super Bowl 13. He was whisked away to safety.
Yes, he
But,
certainly was.
the other big thing out of the Canadian is McKinnon is playing. He's because Tommy was pushed down the lineup a bit. It's now McKinnon with Celebrini, who's been incredible and makes all the difference in the world. It makes them even better than the Four Nations Canadian team, which is scary. But it's Jesus, McKinnon, and Celebrini, and they're saying that may be the greatest line ever assembled. And it could be Gretzky, Lemieux, and Corey Tusick, and that is the greatest line ever assembled.
100%.
Well,
I guarantee you, with those two guys, I'd find a way to get 40 pucks shot off my knees in an 82 game season.
that's right. I find that hockey fans and hockey media, we tend to have something that they like to call recency bias. You'll notice now there's Connor McDavid is the greatest player of all time, and he's great. I'm not. Maybe he will end up one day. I mean, he certainly will be in the discussion. But we always like to we want to get it out there that what we are seeing in this era is the best that there has ever been, and it doesn't always work that way. It's not always that simple. In terms of pure speed, it might be the fastest line there's ever been. But with McKinnon and McDavid on the same line, I mean, frightening. And it is a great line. It is fun to watch. And Celebrini, I think he's already one of the 3 or 4 best players in the world. Like, I think he's that good.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But they've played together like a handful of maybe 20 minutes together. So I'm not really going to anoint them the greatest line in hockey history just yet. And I don't like to make everything about Sid. But one thing I find is the Crosby, Marner, Stone line has been so good that they can kind of load up on that line if they want, because they still have that as their second line. And John Cooper's already said we can count on that line. He always says that they're just a stabilizing force for us every time they're on the ice. So he can load up. I like when Canada loads up, and that way I would just have my third line. I would have like Hagel and Wilson just killing people on the forecheck, and I think that works out perfectly. I don't know how you stop that. That's tough.
No, I mean, it's the guys that can play perfectly with Sid, Stone, and Marner. Like, who thinks the game like Sid?
Because they're smart.
Stone and Marner. Yeah, it's just incredible. Oh, but well, yeah, you get Peacock Premium. Or I have to watch bobsledding. And I don't mind it.
I will say that I have been
it's supposed to be hockey. But yeah, I was just going through. This is probably summer programming, but like to make that statement, I mean, 87 wasn't that long ago, and it was Gretzky and Lemieux. I mean, it's just, I mean, how do you make that statement?
The recency bias is out of control too, because nobody thinks about what's on the horizon. And Josh, I'm glad that you pointed this out. I think you did on Twitter. I never remember what I see on Twitter. I remember I see it, don't know who it came from. But Macklin Celebrini is probably not that far away from challenging McDavid as the number one player in the NHL. I'm not saying in 2 years, but in 5 years,
I think he's the guy that will replace him at some point.
he looks that good. You know what I mean? So it's like all the people that are talking about McDavid's the best line ever. It's like, well, give it a couple years, and then whoever Celebrini's, centering, they're going to say, well, this is the best line ever. Like,
yeah, well, no, for sure. And I am interested in Celebrini. Myself as a Hart Trophy voter, I will say, if that team gets within a sniff of the playoffs, he might win the Hart Trophy. I mean, he's in the discussion. You look at the rest of that San Jose roster, it's not that impressive. You look at what he's doing. He's the closest thing also stylistically to Sid that we've seen. Like, they play a pretty similar game. I marvel at how good he is. He is the real deal.
That's what makes him so impressive. And I think the stat was he won more puck battles than anybody last year.
And
that was at 18. He won more puck battles. It's hard to even imagine he won more puck battles than Sid or Draisaitl or McKinnon or you name it. He won, the Marchand. Like, how do you win more puck battles than anybody?
I know.
Barkov. It's just nuts. But then it's summer program. You think the best lines of all, it's like we had Ronnie and Yogs and Mario, but they had the score lords. I had the poster, bad nickname, But I thought Shanny, Yzerman, and Fedorov.
It's not bad. I mean, it's impossible to say, but I will say, even though I'm a very proud American, like, there is something about watching Team Canada play. That there's just something different when it's that team. You kind of feel like you're watching greatness. Like, I don't know if that maybe was in a way what it was like when you would see the Red Army team play in the 80s. Like you just see a team that has that much talent, that collection of talent. It's rare, and they almost never lose. They just, not only are they freakishly talented, but in the last 20 years, when they actually get pushed and find themselves in overtime or in a tight game, like, they still always win. They just have a way about them. And Sid, by the way, has been really good in this tournament. He was not playing great. Last couple of weeks, he was a little off his game, a little bit of a slump. He's got 6 points in 3 games. He's got at least a point in every game, and he's just playing really high-level hockey. I honestly think, other than McDavid and maybe Celebrini, I think he's been their best player, which at his age, I guess it doesn't shock us. But, man, is he playing well.
That's why
how about McDavid's check, like the first 6 seconds of the game? He looked like Kunitz laying early.
Yeah.
I'm like, that was Jesus.
And I love how you may have seen this on Crosby's goal in the second Canada game. They showed a camera shot of the bench. And when Crosby scored, like, McDavid put Celebrini in a bear hug. He was so excited. And there is literally, and those are 2 guys that are included, Celebrini and McDavid. Those are, when they were kids, they grew up idolizing Sid. And they just, he's royalty to them. And they'll tell you that. And Celebrini did tell me that last year when I asked him about it. And the fact that Sid is still playing at this high of a level and they get to play with him. You don't usually get to play with your heroes, but when you're a little kid growing up watching hockey, and they actually get to, it's fun to watch. There's not another team like Team USA has been really good. They've had 3 fairly dominant wins, but the goals aren't as pretty when Team USA scores. It's just the way it is. Canada's got a different way about it right now.
Yeah, and Josh, were you trying to share the link there? If you need to take just a second to do that, that's fine. I'll edit this out of the.
No, somebody called me and I forgot to turn my notifications off. Is what happened, Corey. These things happened. They were ignored. They got the FU button.
It wasn't Dubas for the Evgeny Malkin resigning, was it?
No.
It was not right now. Wait another half hour for that. It's funny though. I don't know. We're going down from Corey's big board, the prep. I mean, like, I don't think anybody else has a chance except the U.S. or Canada.
No.
I would think they're a lock. Canada's a lock for a medal.
Oh yeah, no, but I mean, Sweden's the problem. Sweden could I would pick the U.S. to beat Sweden on Wednesday. They're going to play. It's going to be the late game. I think it's like 3 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon. That's going to be assuming Sweden wins tomorrow, which I'm sure they will. I think the U.S. is a favorite. I don't think they're a heavy favorite though. It's still Sweden. They still have a lot of talent on that team. So
Landeskog was the guy, the cannon.
Yeah.
But I was what? Yeah. Hey, Sweden's out there. They were supposed to be, but they lost to Finland too, though. It's like Sweden's just been off this year.
They did. Yeah. I mean, Finland's not terrible. I mean, that's probably who Canada's going to get in the semifinals, if I had to guess. I mean, if they had Barkov, it'd be different. If they had Barkov, that'd be scary. But without him, it would be a little minor miracle if they were to beat Canada, I think.
Any chance Shilovs pulls it off tomorrow and gets into the second round? I would love to see a Latvia rematch.
I would too. Is he going to play? That's the question. Is it him or Elvis, right? I don't know. I think both of them are capable of stealing a game, but I just don't think the roster surrounding them is quite good enough. I like the Latvians. I've met a few Latvians. They can really party. They're a good time. Just don't think they're quite advanced enough at the game of ice hockey to pull that off, though.
Yeah, not quite. Now, Matthew Tkachuk, we have to talk about this because his elite level of chirping took a whole new level when he told Leon, always a bridesmaid. That ruffled some feathers up north. But I think it was great. and even Leon was laughing, like he didn't he wasn't like sitting there crying on the bench. Like, I can't believe you said that about me. What do you think about Tkachuk and giving Leon the old elbow?
I was highly amused by it myself. I think the Tkachuks are great natural heels. They like playing the villain role. It's just the way they are. I know everyone in Canada got offended by it, or a lot of people did. Listen, I don't like talking politics on the show, but let's be honest. Tkachuk was at the White House a few weeks ago and said he was very proud to be there with Trump. I'm sure that rubbed a lot of people, especially up north, the wrong way. It's just the way it is. So if you have one political persuasion, you probably hate Matthew Tkachuk. Like, okay. I don't like to mix politics and sports. I really don't. And in this case, for Christ's sake, it was funny. Like, it's just athlete shit talking. Leon was clearly amused. And by the way, I've dealt with both of them. Kachuk's a way nicer guy, actually. Like, I'm sorry. He actually is. Like, Leon can be a bit of an ass. Like, he can deal with it. He's a great player and he knows it. Like, he'll be fine.
With Tkachuk though, him and his brother have been playing great hockey. I'll tell you who else has been playing really well is Eichel.
Oh, phenomenal. Maybe their best player.
Yeah. The U.S. has a very, very good team. Like, we've broken this down for 8 weeks now. They just don't have Sid and Makar and Jesus.
Right.
and celebrating and McKinnon. I mean, that's just
it's unfair. But in a one-game setting, I don't think they could beat Canada in a best of 7. In a one-game setting, I think the Eichel Kachuk line could give them trouble. Other than Makar, I don't love their blue line. I mean, I actually like Team USA's blue line and goaltending better than Canada's, quite frankly.
Oh, yeah. No, I do too.
But Canada's star power is what it is. And because of that star power, they always have the freaking puck. But I don't think they would blow out the Americans by any stretch. I think it would be a game, but I would still favor Canada based on what I've seen through the first few days of this tournament.
The only thing I just hope for the whole tournament is I hope Cooper doesn't put Sid in a shootout.
Well, we all know how it's going to go. So.
See, that'd be the one time Sid would score.
We know the move he's going to use. I know that.
Yeah. He'd come down, he'd do some kind of sick move that we've never seen, and that would happen to us. I mean, that's the same thing. I think the words that came out of my mouth when Sid scored the golden goal were of course. It's like the one time I'm rooting against them, we can't fail. Just I wanted him to fail one time. So yeah, but let's get to a break here because there's a couple other things we want to hit, and then we're going to talk about Josh's trade deadline list. He always puts it in the nice fun categories of what division they fall into and likelihoods. But first, Danny's Pizzas and Hoagies, and Josh, if you want to, I don't know if you can try to share this out while we're doing the ad read. That might help. But Joe, Danny's Pizza and Hoagies. I'm sure Alex at Danny's is watching a ton of hockey right now, and he's probably loving the U.S. I assume he's rooting for them over Canada.
Oh, I don't know about that. I can't speak for the great Alex's. I can't put words in his mouth. I know he's he's always pro Sid. Everybody is.
That's Penguins fans are kind of 50-50. So yeah, sorry, Alex. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, but I just we were down there talking. He felt the same way I did. I was down there, of course, on Valentine's Day. What better Valentine's Day dinner than I brought my girlfriend Rachel down for the Italian subs and the square cut appetizer, pepperoni appetizer. A little just delicious. So I mean, the first thing she does when she lands in Pittsburgh is she's like, "When are we going to Danny's?" So we, of course, went on Valentine's Day, and my old teammate. Brian Walters, the chief, he brought his wife of 20 some years. They have 4 kids, all almost in college or out of college. So Danny's Pizza and Hoagies, perfect for any romance. If you're a year in or 25 years of marriage, and it was the best. Josh, I was down there and hanging out with Alex. He feels the same way we do. Just the Penguins are having too good of a season for the Olympics. That was the general vibe. Is what are we doing for another 10 days?
And it really hits you. It hits you late at night, especially. It's like 8:00. There's nothing on. Like at least there is something to watch during the day. But the last few nights have gotten a little depressing. Like, geez.
Yes, but the best hoagies, the best pizza. Danny's Pizza and Hoagies.
Yes.
5159 Library Road, basically Route 88, right before you get to South Park. It's on the left-hand side. The phone number is 412-833-7788. Tell them you listen to us on Two for. People are going in now and saying, "Hey, I heard you about you on Two for Talking," and of course they had the best time. Anyone I've ever told about the place or brought there was like, these hoagies are amazing. The pizza's amazing.
Yes, it is.
Everyone who works there is great people. Everyone, we always high five and talk hockey, and everyone down there is counting the minutes till the season starts back up again.
It is brutal. Well, it's funny because last year with the Four Nations face-off and the Penguins doing this was like, oh my God, like here we go, something I can like actually sink my teeth into. And now it's like, geez, like get me back to the Penguins.
I was gonna say one more thing. It was funny because it was packed on Valentine's Day. It is always packed. But the second to last time I was there was an older woman just sitting there by herself with a big Diet Coke and just mowing on a big Italian hoagie. I'm like, that's living life. It's about 85 years old. The little old lady, the sandwich is bigger than her. Just get into it. We caught faces and we both smiled like, yeah, it's that good. It's that good.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Alex at Danny's Pizza and Hoagies, as always.
It's Danny's Pizza and Hoagies.com too. You can check out the menu, but right there. Go in and enjoy.
Have a hoagie, the best in town, as always, and tell them we
sent them. The pizza's great too. All the square, they just melt in your mouth.
And soon enough, you're going to see Joe Bartnick on the pizza box. It's coming.
But the square cuts.
So
I'm hungry now. I'm going to go now. I'm going to cut the show now. Go. You can't. They're closed. The worst thing is they're closed Mondays. It's the worst.
Joe could work there. You could run the show for Monday. But so I want to get into a little bit of the Avery Hayes stuff that happened. We saw some fireworks with him. We got to ask Joe about a Geno extension. But first of all, the infamous Phil Kessel tweet during the World Cup of Hockey. I saw a lot of people reminiscing, a lot of people photoshopping Jason Robertson tweeting that same thing out. And Josh, you had a little insight. You were close by to someone whenever that tweet went out, and just describe how crazy. For those that don't remember, Phil Kessel said, "Feels like I should have been doing something tonight," right? Whenever Team USA was losing.
Yeah. So this was 2016, the World Cup of Hockey, which I believe the Americans lost all 3 games they played, if I'm not mistaken. They got really embarrassed, and it was right after they were eliminated from the tournament. I'm covering the event. I'm in Toronto. And they had this big media area where they brought all the players out. And there's some American players talking. I'm there interviewing them, and standing right beside me is Steve Simmons, the man Phil Kessel hates the most. His biggest antagonist from the Toronto media. I mean, he's literally standing like a foot away from me, and I just happened to look at my phone, and somebody texted me, said, "Oh my God, you've got to see what Kessel just tweeted." So I opened up Twitter and I saw it, and I just tapped Steve on the arm and I said, "Hey, look at this." And I showed him, and Steve Simmons just started laughing uncontrollably. He thought it was the greatest thing he had ever seen. The Canadians love it when the American implodes, of course, and of course Phil not being on the team was a very big deal. But yes, I often when I'm in Toronto, I always think of that particular moment.
Fantastic. It's the Americans screwing up rosters for long before 2026.
That's right.
So Avery Hayes down in Wilkes-Barre got in a little bit of a scrap. Is that kid trying to just do everything he can to make sure he's back on this roster when they come back?
I think so. Yeah, he drilled Zach Aston Reese and knocked him down with the right hand. Zach's not exactly the toughest guy in the world, but he's still a lot bigger than Avery Hayes, and I don't think he's going to be in Wilkes-Barre much longer. I know, we've talked at length about all that fourth line, and you can't break it up. Like maybe you can. I don't know. Like maybe he's just better than Nola Chari. Maybe you give it a look. It's hard to keep him down.
Who among us hasn't wanted to punch Zach Aston Reese in the face? He might be a nice guy. I'm sorry, I stepped on you. No, it's funny. I'm watching Wilkes-Barre. The top line of Wilkes-Barre is Bros, McGrorty, and Avery Hayes. I thought that was going to be the third line in Pittsburgh this year. And I thought Raquel and Rust were going to be in Detroit.
That's right. And listen, it might be at some point, maybe next year, who knows? But I know all three of them have been pretty good. And Hayes in particular, I just love everything about this kid's game. He is a hockey player in the truest sense of the word. And I know the organization is impressed, Joe. I think it's just a matter of time before he's up here for good.
Well, Josh, I was kidding on DVE that, he Noah Chari should have took some Mucinex because he might be Wally pipped. But he might be.
He might be.
I mean, seriously, because I think Achari does have Achari's, and I'm not trying to run him out of town. He's played well this year. I tried to run him out of town in September, that's for sure. But he's played well this year. But Achari could get something on the trade market. Someone would give it maybe a third rounder, maybe, but he's not useless.
Potentially, and there's also nothing wrong with keeping him this year anyway. He's a nice guy to have around, but Hayes would just bring a dimension of team speed. Like that's the one thing about Achari. Even though I think he is moving better this year than he was last, Hayes he can fly. I mean, he would give them an element of speed on that line that they really don't have. And you like to have somebody on each line that can really skate, ideally. And so if you would have that, then you have, Kindle, the way he's been skating on the third line, right? You have Chinnikov, the way he can fly on the second line. Like you kind of have that, and Rusty can still fly. So you have four wingers who can really move if you would do that. So I think it's worth considering. That fourth line's been great. I'm not necessarily suggesting breaking it up, but does Nola Chari need to play 17 games in 31 days in March? Is that what's best for the team? I don't know. Like Hayes and McGrorty pushing for playing time is not a bad thing. No, it's absolutely not.
And I think, before, maybe even definitely last year, you kind of needed kind of his size if things got a little rough. And they got Brazo and Mantha now, and they have enough shoulders on that team now. That's right. They can lose Achari to a smaller guy who can obviously throw him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he's not going to back down from anybody anyway. So, as Zach Aston Reese learned very clearly last night in Cleveland, I think that game was. So, now, I mean, and the way he's scoring goals, too, he's got almost 20 goals now, and he was hurt and missed part of the season, too, Hayes did. So, the goal scoring touches there. And those two goals he scored in Buffalo, Joe, like those were goal scorers' goals. Like they really were, both of them. Like he's got a pretty nice pair of hands. He knows how to finish. So he's undersized, sure, but I like everything else about his game.
Well, I'm just barely undersized. I bet just for the shootouts.
Maybe. That's what young guys do well. That's true. I mean,
Yeah, and I liked your comment. I mean, your great trade breakdown. I always love those. Who's in what format? I guess Corey, we're going to get to those. So, but I think the odd man out between McGroarty and Hayes. I think it might be Connor Dewars next year.
could be. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people when Blake Lizotte got the new contract, like, when are you going to lock up Dewar? When are you going to lock up Achari? I'm like, I mean, what's the rush? Like I like Lizotte a lot, and he's playing cheap, so I get that. But just because a fourth line is great one year doesn't mean it's going to be great the next year. So they're really good together right now, and that's good. That's good. I'm not diminishing what they're doing, and Dewar's been terrific. I really like his game, but you can always get better still. You
Yeah,
know, I
yeah.
mean, what's wrong with McGroarty and Hayes maybe being those guys next year? But that's
Well,
okay.
that's what I'm saying. McGroarty and Hayes are on the wings. And what's the Venn diagram? I know it's a big one. What's the Venn diagram of people who want to get younger by throwing Gino to the wolves, but want to keep a fourth line together? Like,
I
like we want to get younger. We're keeping Dewar. Well, Dewars isn't even that old, but Achari is dirt.
Well, it's also the people say we got to get younger, but you can't get rid of Gino. Like, well, all right. I mean, which one? How about just like try to have a good hockey team? That's my like try to build the best team you can build. That's regardless of age. And when the young guys are ready to play, like one thing we've learned about Kyle Dubas and Dan Muse, like Ben Kindle just turned 18 years old. He was in the opening night lineup. Like they're not afraid to go with young guys when they think they're ready. And I know that's been a criticism of the Penguins, especially Mike Sullivan for years. Okay, no, this is a new coach in charge, and he clearly is very welcoming. And I've been told by a couple of people in the organization as of a few days ago, like, don't be shocked if Avery Hayes gets called up in the next week or so again. Like they like him that much. Like it's gonna happen. It's a matter of time. So they aren't losing track of wanting the young guys to develop and playing them when they're ready. But it also can make their team instantaneously better. That's what you want. So I mean, it's only a good thing that guys like McGroarty and Hayes are showing that they might be NHL ready right now.
I think McGroarty played great since his club. Now he could score a few more goals. Obviously, it's maybe great. Right. That's the word.
Yeah.
But just being in the right place at the Ronnie Francis gene, just being there, just being where you're supposed to be, getting the puck out, getting the puck in, taking the body. He's around the net. He's bees around the hive. He's right there.
If you're playing the right way, it's gonna eventually fall your way.
Well, and one thing I like about a lot of the Penguins, we talk about it every week. A lot of their young players, especially Kindle and McGroarty, and I think maybe Hayes also. I haven't seen enough of him yet, but like Kindle and McGroarty are really good defensively, and that's a part of the game that usually doesn't come naturally to guys that age. That's kind of a learned skill usually. The fact that they have that kind of defensive intuition at their respective ages, that's a great sign. Because even if McGroarty's not going to be a 40-goal scorer, which I don't think he is, if he's going to be like a really good penalty killer and score 20 a year, you can live with that.
Well, just to get back to the point of, we love McGroarty. We love Hayes. I love Bros. We want to see them play. So you have to break up the fourth line. We're not breaking up Sid's line. You're not breaking up Tommy Terrific and the Russian connection. You're not, and it's like that's who you're breaking up. The top line is set. Unless someone gets hurt or someone gets traded, you're not breaking. Like McGroarty's not coming in for Raquel.
No, but here's the thing: someone is going to get hurt. I mean, these things happen organically. You got 17 games in 31 days in March. And it's going to be like playoff like atmosphere for a lot of those games. People are going to get hurt. It's just the way it is. So, what do they do when they're completely healthy? I don't know. It's a healthy debate to have. But the point is, the fact that you have McGroarty and Avery Hayes now, I think, entrenched as your 13th and 14th guys at worst, that's a big deal. That's the kind of depth that a lot of teams don't have if they're as good as we think they might be. And Bros isn't far away, and we poked Kevin Hayes. I realize is not what he was, but you can throw him in there for a game or two, and he's not going to kill you. So
barely.
Well, but right, maybe not in a playoff game, but regular season's fine. So they go 15, 16 deep at forward. Not many teams can really say that. That's a really good thing. And no, Hayes isn't going to keep scoring 2 goals every NHL game, but I'm telling you, he's a player. His
Here's
energy is. Oh,
here's the turd in the toilet bowl, Josh. We only go 5 deep on the blue line.
yeah.
That's
No,
that's the problem. So
that's right.
I want to get to that. I have not seen Justin Falk connected with us at all. That's kind of been I've actually I was at the John Binley, the hoedown, great night of country western music and partying on Valentine's Day. Was the best, and a lot of Penguin fans, a lot of Two for Talking fans. You and Josh, wait, in my opinion, like, is it okay to root for sin? I gotta absolve them. Absolutely, it's sin. But a lot of people wondering, about what we're going to do there and asking questions. And I want to go big. I want Parayko for whatever it takes. I think it solves more. I think it solves a lot of problems going past the playoffs this year. But I haven't seen us link to Falk. I've seen other teams link to Falk. Who are we realistically looking at? Have you heard any rumors for the 6 hole?
I haven't really. The Penguins, keep that pretty concealed. But I do know that they want a defenseman. That when they look at this roster, that's the biggest area of concern. I think they would like it to be a right-handed guy, especially when you consider Letang and John Marino are both out. Or not John Marino. Jesus, I'm thinking of that. Those are right-handed defensemen from years ago. Jack St. Ivany. Wish they had John Marino. That'd be perfect for them.
Yeah, he's in Utah. He's always banged up.
He'd be all right.
He's always banged up. He has the Bo Bennett gene, Corey.
He is. But but St. Ivany and Letang both being hurt. Letang's out a few more weeks at least. St. Ivany's out until probably April 1. So they're pretty thin on the right side, and Ryan Shea can play the right side. I don't think he plays it very well. He doesn't look comfortable there to me. He's so good on the left side. To find somebody to play with him, ideally, and have Connor Clifton, who I like, but I like him a lot more as a number 7 guy. I think that would be ideal. It'll be interesting to see what the going rate is for somebody like a Falk, who I really like. I think someone like that would be perfect. We'll see. But I expect Kyle to do something, and we'll see whatever he does. We'll see what he really thinks of this team. If he goes pretty big, that tells you he thinks this team's really capable of some serious things.
See, I think Falk would not cause a scar. I think Falk might be 2 second rounders, maybe even a first if you're bidding against Steve Yzerman and somebody else. Mm-hmm. I think Parayko might be like McGroarty in somebody, but I think Parayko, he's around for a while. Then you have a big defenseman that's he's in the Olympics.
As much as I love McGroarty, I kind of would be okay with that. Like it's like you have to make. It's. I mean, Madden always says this, and a lot of people say, we can't just trade our bad guys for their good guys. Like
that's right.
You have to give something up.
No, you do. And I would also mention, since we're talking about right-handed defensemen and how their current roster could use one, in the big picture, they could use one also. Letang's 38 and way past his prime. Carlson's 35, only has 1 year left on his contract. And I like Brunick, and I think he's going to be a good player, but he's still only 19. So if you could get a guy that helps you not only now, but for a couple of more years afterward on the right side, that would be a pretty big deal. And it might be worth giving up a price.
That's what I mean. I think it's not just for this. I think Falk helps us like this year. I think Parayko helps us for the next 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That kind of moves us perfectly into Josh's trade deadline list because, you said what Kyle Dubas does is going to tell us what he thinks of this team. And that maybe the first division in your article to go with is the maybe for a young star division. And you listed a first-round draft pick. Would you, I think it would be safe to say if Kyle Dubas trades a first-round draft pick, that means he thinks this team is serious.
Oh, yeah. And I don't expect him to do that, but if he could get a big name here, somebody who's young, it has to be both. He's not going to give up a first-round pick for some 34-year-old rental. Not going to happen. Obviously, we've heard the name Jason Robertson discussed. I don't think that happens before the deadline. But if the Stars decide that they can't sign him long term, I promise you the Penguins will be one of the teams bidding to try to get him. I know what they think of him. Obviously, it would take more than a first round pick, but that would be involved. But no, Kyle's not afraid to trade draft picks. He showed that with Chinnikov. He traded a second and a third for him. And again, Chinnikov was 24 years old. I think he's 25 now. Young player under team control for many years to come. That's what he's looking for. He's not afraid to pay that premium. We don't know who all is available out there. That is still to be determined. But that said, the deadline's March 6th. So do the math. We're only 2.5 weeks away from the deadline. So things are about to pick up. I wouldn't be shocked if Kyle gets aggressive though. He knows the East stinks, and he wants to make this team better. Not just this season, but for the next few years. And he's already been very candidly honest, saying like we know we're not going to find young stars on July 1st and free agency day. That's not the way it works. We're going to have to make trades to get those guys. So we'll see, but I wouldn't be shocked if he's active.
Does Dubas like Wright out of Seattle?
I don't know specifically if he likes him, but I do know that that's kind of in the profile of guys they're looking for. That's a top 5 pick who's still 22 years old or whatever, very young guy who hasn't really panned out, but he obviously has talent. Guys like that.
Yeah, I just don't see the need for him.
Because of Ben Kindle, I would agree.
And Novak.
Yeah, right. I mean, they're both. Kindle's a young right-handed center who's probably better than Shane Wright, or is going to be better than Shane Wright. So I don't. And Shane Wright's kind of a 2 or 3 center right now, which they already have a lot of those. So I don't know that he would necessarily make sense. But think along those lines. Maybe a young player who's got talent, it's not quite working out, or maybe someone who's just in a horseshit organization who would be dumb enough to trade someone. You got to think along those lines, and there are guys out there that I could imagine them targeting for sure.
Well, let me ask you this. Like, if Dallas just tomorrow re-signs Jason Robertson, and you said he's looking for young superstars, he's looking for splash. Rob Thomas is signed up until infinity. Only he's making a good penny, but not, not Marner money.
No, and whether Gino comes back for another year or not, number one, we've seen Gino can play the wing very well.
Right.
And number two, that'd be a pretty nice number 2 center to have moving forward, would it not?
Even at number 1 in 3 years.
Maybe. Yeah, he's really good.
He's a little dinged up this year, but I thought last year he played phenomenal.
Yeah, he's a good player. Yeah, a guy like that, sure, I could see Kyle making a call for him. He's in a place now. The Penguins have 2 very important things, right? That they have the draft picks and the prospects where they could give a team like St. Louis a lot and still not screw up the rebuilding that's taking place. They'd still have a lot of picks and a lot of prospects and be in good position. And they've got cap space. They've got a lot of cap space.
Yeah.
So they're in a good position to.
I'm really high on getting in another because I love the Pasadena kid. I mean, Jason Robertson, he's like a hometown hero for me, but he's a winger. I think they need a big center.
Yeah, and
moving forward.
I
love Kindle, but we all know my thoughts on big shoulders.
No, for sure. And I also think that when you look at the Penguin situation, Kyle Dubas always uses the word urgent. Says there's an urgency. I want to get good. He said we got to do it the right way, but I want to do it quickly. I don't know a 5-year program here. I think part of that is when you consider Sidney Crosby. Like, he's still playing at this level. You might still have it for a couple of more years. Don't you want to take advantage of that if you're going to make a splash and do it sooner rather than later? And I've always, for years now, I've said the summer of 26, this coming summer, is when I think you'll see Dubas really get aggressive, bring in big names, really go for it. But they're ahead of schedule right now. This team's good. They're trying to make the playoffs and maybe do something once they get there. So, hey, why not get aggressive a few months earlier? And for anyone, I've seen some people worried about, you don't want to screw up the chemistry of this team. Nah, That's not the concern. You want to have as many good players as possible. That's more important. Chemistry will work its way out. It'll figure itself out. You want to get good players. So if they have a chance,
winning always brings good chemistry.
funny how that works, right? So yeah, I don't think trading for Ron Francis in March of '91 hurt the Penguins' chemistry. You can't worry about stuff like that, and Dubas knows that. So that's why I think he will be probably aggressive.
We said it last week, I mean, for God's sake, they won the Stanley Cup. We're on their way to a second one. They traded Paul Coffey.
He had Mark Recchi.
Like, I think it worked out,
Right.
That's what's kind of interesting, but it does make him more, trade eligible or trade worthy or trade, makes him more desirable to be traded. But I don't know. I guess you make these tough decisions every day. That's what makes the Lazat thing even kind of more interesting in a way. Because it's kind of like, okay, say you can get Rob Thomas. Then you got Kindle. Then Tommy Novak would be a perfect fourth line center. Then,
yeah,
not maybe a rugged guy, but
Well, if you get Bob Thomas, like Tommy Novak might be unbelievable trade bait himself.
Right, but I'm just yeah.
But no, I mean they're in a position where they can make a hockey trade because they are so deep at forward now, and you might see something like that because there aren't many sellers in the league right now. Like everybody thinks they can get in the playoffs. That's because pretty much everyone can. So as a result, you're going to see some old-fashioned hockey trades like Craig Patrick used to pull off in the early '90s, and it wouldn't shock me at all if the Penguins are involved in that.
So you have one of those. That's one of your divisions is hockey trade only. So I'm going to rattle off the names here because we're not long on time, but just pick out of this group here who you think is the most likely to be a hockey trade only and what you think. Erik Karlsson, Brian Rust, Tommy Novak, Ricard Raquel, I won't say Skinner, Wotherspoon, Kulak, Shea, St. Ivany, or She Loves.
Oh, boy. I don't think they're going to trade any of those guys, to be honest. But if they're going to make a big deal, like if it would include bringing a forward back, I could see Raquel. I could envision that. I can't even imagine him trading Brian Rust at this point. We see how out of whack Sid gets when Rust isn't on his line, quite honestly. Raquel, and I don't think they're going to trade Raquel, but I could, if Robertson comes up, okay, and Dallas, is serious about trading him, you could send Raquel as a legitimate top 6 guy. He's not Jason Robertson, but he's still really good because Dallas still is going to want to win right now, even if they wouldn't have Robertson. So for that alone, I would say probably Raquel. But like Kulak is nothing special, right? But he's made Letang so much better. And Letang was such of a problem the first 3 months of the season. I don't think they want to mess with that, especially given that they aren't as deep on the blue line. So there's a lot to consider there.
I think it's a great piece at The Athletic. And I've always said, if you're a hockey fan and you're not subscribed to The Athletic, I don't know what you're doing. The 2 names I pick out of that are Anthony Mantha. He's had a very good year, and he's not under contract next year.
Yeah.
So I think he's not bait, but I think can bring somebody back, or he'd be the perfect guy. I think they would want Raquel Dallas over Mantha, but Mantha's played good this year. So I think so. Maybe
Mantha's an interesting one, right? Because I think it hurts the Penguins if they don't have him. That's how important he has been. But do you really want to lock him up to like a 4-year deal this summer when he's going to be 32 years old? And he has a history of being really inconsistent because I think somebody will. I don't know that the Penguins want to be that team, which does make him interesting.
Well, because I also think you have a chance to go deep sea fishing for anybody in the summer, and you also have McGroarty and Hayes coming up. So
that's right.
But I just mean like right now, I think if he gets you Robertson, see you, Mo.
There's times this season that he's disappeared a little bit, and it wasn't detrimental. It didn't help us, but it wasn't like, oh my God, the season's over.
He's always been that guy. I mean, you think he's going to be a star, and he never really became one, but you can't deny he puts up numbers. He's on pace to score 30 goals. He's been great. I just wonder if he's pricing himself out of Pittsburgh moving forward. Not that they don't have the money to sign him, but I just don't think they want to lock up another guy in his 30s when they already have so many of them in that spot.
The other name that I think is possible, I think Shelov's is possible. Because I think if Skinner falters or they go, I think they're going to bring Mershov up.
Yeah, I do too.
You can't have 3 goaltenders.
I do too. And the thing is, you also have Blomqvist, who is having a really good year in Wilkes-Barre. Not as good as Miroshov, but really good. They are so deep at goal now in the organization. Sure, I could see Shelov's being a possibility. And speaking of the goaltenders, like I've been told, like if Skinner or Shelov's stumble at some point during this tough stretch in March, Miroshov's going to be here. Like they're not going to hesitate. They think he's about ready. So you always have that in your back pocket. If you're worried about the Penguins goaltending, you always got him just kind of waiting in the wings.
But then, Josh, you don't send Skinner or Shelov's to Wilkes-Barre, do you? Like they have to be. Well, and they have to clear.
Right.
They would never clear. Skinner's not clearing waivers.
Skinner certainly would not. Shelov's probably not either.
That's what I mean. They're going to get traded.
It's not a bad problem to have. You don't usually see goalies get traded at the deadline, but it's conceivable. It would not shock me for sure. It's so interesting because the Penguins and what they're doing this year, I really think it's caught even Kyle Dubas by surprise. I don't think he was expecting this.
And it's so fun. It's so great.
Oh, it is. And I don't even know if I want to say they're ahead of schedule because other than Kindle, it's not like there's any young guys. Chinnikov, I guess, but he's new. They're just playing great hockey. That's just the way it is. So I am fascinated to see what happens. This is why Kyle makes the big bucks to make these decisions. You don't want to hurt the future because you've spent the last 2 years building for it. You don't want to do anything to harm what you've done. You got to try to make the playoffs at all costs at this point as well. Let's be honest. The season's a disappointment if you don't make the playoffs now. So really interesting spot he's in.
Isn't that funny? We were just big October. When's it going to fall? I mean, Canada's just begrudgingly realizing, like, Penguins are pretty good.
The place keeps getting bigger on the probability. I mean, the fact that there's a number showing Stanley Cup probabilities.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's 6 too. We all know it. I mean,
yeah, I'll take it. We're gonna get to a couple more things around town and the Lord's work, but first, Mr. Bill Neofis of Neofis Insurance, our great sponsor. I'm sure he's enjoying this Olympic hockey. Is he more of a root for Sid guy or a root for America guy?
I think I don't want to speak for the great man. I suspect he's more of a root for Sid guy, though. He's very loyal to number 87, and I, by the way, have no problem with that. I'm an American, but like I'm kind of torn. I know Sid really well on a personal level, and I think very highly of him, and I'd be very happy for him if he won another gold. But I'm still an American, so it's a very odd spot to be in. But of course, I am speaking of Bill Neofis, our great sponsor, the man who runs the show at Neofis Insurance. They've been open since 1960, the same as our friends at Danny's. Unbelievable the connection in 1960. So if there's any other businesses out there that opened in 1960, maybe we can talk. I don't know. But we got your insurance taken care of. It doesn't matter what the insurance is. Car insurance, renter's insurance, home insurance, pet insurance. We get on the list all the time. The good people at Neofis Insurance Group will take care of you. And I emphasize the word good people. I've gotten to know people in Bill's office. Unbelievable human beings. They will put you at ease. They will make you feel comfortable, and they will not rip you off. They will get you the best deals. So give our friend Bill a call. I'm going to give you the number. It's 412-364-3388. I'll give it to you one more time. 412-364-3388. Bill and his crew are located in the North Hills. Really easy location to find. And give the great man a call. Tell him we sent you. He'll talk hockey with you for a couple of minutes, and you guys can get down to business. So thank you for everything, Bill.
Yeah, Bill.
And
if you wanted me to bleed red, white, and blue, you would have brought Rusty to Italy.
I can't help myself as much. I love Sid, and Josh, you have a different scenario because you have a personal relationship with him, so that would be hard because it's like, well, like I kind of want to root for someone that I know. But I put it out there, and Penguin Jesus retweeted it, so that's how you know that you got the blessing from above. is that I said I want Sid to play well, which he has so far, and then lose to us. It's best case scenario for Americans because then he comes back pissed off that he lost the gold medal and he's just going to go on a tear. So, we all know a Sidney Crosby that's pissed off is pretty good for the hockey team he's playing for. So that's just saying.
That's an interesting philosophy, Corey. I don't think Sid would like that philosophy one bit, but I
would. I love you, Sid, but hey, I would, I want you to do great for the Penguins and not so great against Team USA.
Don't get hurt, Sid.
Just stay, play well, do your best, score 8 goals, lose 9-8. But yeah, so the Lord's
it still wouldn't be enough. Jesus would have an assist to give him the MVP.
Yeah, he could play. He might not even play to get the MVP. The Lord's work, Joe.
From the press box, he'd win the MVP.
Yeah. Is there anything that's happened to the Philadelphia Flyers in the last week that is, made you happy, gave you a smile, let you sleep easy at night?
No, the creamsicles haven't made it on the ice, so that means we have to beat up their kids a little bit. So we did. The Cleveland Monsters won 5-3 over the weekend, and the Syracuse Crunch won 3-1 against the Phantoms. So the Phantoms getting no points for you over the weekend. And to throw a little salt in the wound, tending net for the Cleveland Monsters was former highly drafted pick and a big deal, Ivan Fedotov, or Fedo. I remember seeing his name. I can never say it. He's a Russian guy, and boy, could Ricky Tocchet use him in Philly because, of course, they still haven't found a goaltender. So good to see Philly. To see the Phantoms losing over the weekend, both games. And just their columnists are just crying about, the way they're playing, and the coach is upset and good.
Teach them early. Teach them that they're losers early.
Yeah, exactly. You want out of Lehigh Valley.
Get out of there as quick as possible if you're a good hockey player. There's some good ones that have left recently. They knew better.
I'm dreading Mr. Martone though.
Mr.
Martone.
He's looking pretty good. He's looking pretty good. Although Will Horkoff got off the schneid. He was on a 9-game goalless streak. He scored on.
So he scored the other night. Yeah,
so he's looking good for the Wolverines there.
Will needs like a shot of rabies or something. I don't know. It was a little too delicate. He's a little delicate.
He needs to fill out a little bit.
Yeah, he's gonna he needs some Dan. We're gonna send him right down to Danny's. We're gonna get
great idea.
There you go.
Say you're in a room at the Marriott in South Hills. He's going to go right down to Danny's every day.
He can sit with that old lady and buy her hoagies all day. Drink their Diet Coke together.
I'll feed him.
Yeah. He can have a regular Coke.
He's all with my diet. He will gain weight, no problem. So around town, really, it's quiet time, but I just had to bring up all the BS with the former Steelers taking shots at Roethlisberger. I'm sure you guys have seen it, but it's like, do you have some balls to they were saying Ben's talking on this podcast. Ben wasn't insulting people. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong. I don't know Ben. So I know he wasn't the greatest of guys back in the day, changed his ways. And he has a podcast and he's giving opinions about the team. And then you have Joey Porter coming out of nowhere being like, oh, he wouldn't sign autographs, so he sucks. He's a terrible teammate. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, and then all of a sudden you see these Steelers Depot articles where it's like former teammate of Ben Roethlisberger said that he was a terrible teammate, and you click on it, it's some guy that was on the practice squad for half the season. You're like, all these people trying to make a name for themselves for crapping on Ben, and I just wanted to get your guys' take on it because it's really pissing me off.
Yeah, I'm a big Joey Porter fan. I've dealt with Joey. I like him. I think he's an all-time great Steeler. I think he was really out of line to do what he did here. I think he was doing it for attention and nothing else. Joey could have picked up the phone and called Ben if he had a problem with Ben.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, he was yucking it up with him when they were both inducted into the Steelers Ring of Honor or whatever it is this season. The timing of it was just bizarre. And if he was really that offended that Ben had stuff to say about Tomlin, Ben didn't say anything nasty about Mike Tomlin. All he said was, yeah, maybe it is time for a change, which I think anybody with a functioning brain thought was a pretty good line of thought. So it's just, I don't like it. In my lifetime, the 2005 Steelers were the first Steelers team I ever saw win a Super Bowl. and Ben and Joey Porter both played huge roles in that. And I don't like seeing guys feuding who meant that much to the city. And I thought it was uncalled for by Peasy. I really did.
No, it was totally uncalled for by Peasy. It's like when you find out that JJ's parents didn't get along on good times. Like no one wants to hear any of this. I mean, it's beneath them. It's beneath them, and that's why Ben hasn't said a thing,
right?
Which he took the approaches he should take, and and Harrison can say what he basically. Peasy doesn't like Harrison and Roethlisberger taking shots at Mike Tomlin.
Right.
Mike can't speak right now for various reasons, and he's gone away, and Joey Porter's carrying his water for him. But I think, like anything else, I think Tomlin would like Peasy just to be quiet.
Yes,
that
never a strength of his.
Yeah. That being said, I don't even have a problem with Peasy saying things because Peasy does have a couple Super Bowl rings to back up his thoughts. I have a bigger problem with guys I've never heard of taking shots at arguably the best quarterback in Steeler history. That's what I have a bigger problem with, and especially guys that so-called Hall of Famers and so-called Steeler legends that maybe he even haven't won a freaking playoff game. That's the problem. Those are the problems I have. Peasy wants to shout his mouth off. They're teammates. It's like brother on brother. That's one thing. But when you're a guy that hasn't won a goddamn thing talking about Mr. Roethlisberger, that's when I have a problem.
Yeah, it's after Mike Vanderjagt missed the kick in Indy when Bill Cowher said, "Joey, will you be quiet this week?" Like that's just not Joey's way. He's never going to be quiet. No, that's a good point, Joe. Like, and I'll tell you what, I don't doubt that Ben wasn't very welcoming with Mason Rudolph. I think that's been pretty well chronicled. I didn't like Mason jumping in on the pot, especially when he's still playing for the Steelers. I thought that was a shitty look on his part.
You're in a good zone. Everybody in Pittsburgh loves you, Mason.
Right. Like what, yes, Ben's a controversial figure. He always will be. We know this. The Steelers already look unstable right now, and they have for a while. And stuff like this, to me, just makes it even worse. I don't recall Dwight White ever complaining about Terry Bradshaw. I don't like it.
And it really all comes back to Art the Third. He has no control over his. Well, you think you could make you don't think that the chief? Well, they would have never done this if the chief was alive,
right?
Or Dan. You think Dan would have made a phone call and be like, "Hey, knock it off."
Right. Yeah. No, that's not the way we talk about the Steelers way. Like this isn't supposed to be the Steelers way. It's not. And I think like a lot of Steelers fans I know are just kind of like they love Ben and Joey. They're not trying to pick sides. It's like, guys, just stop it. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. And Tomlin hasn't jumped in either. It's like the guys that have done all the winning haven't said a thing.
Right. No, it's bizarre, but the timing of it was just so strange. I really weird.
Well, I just is doing a lot of morning radio. At least we don't have to talk about the Pirates. I'd rather the Steelers bitch than me pretending to care about who's pitching with some 19-year-old kid. Oh, he's hitting the shit out of the ball. Yeah. They're always good until Mother's Day. You can't even get us to camp.
I just want them to just limp me to camp. That's what I asked for from the Pirates. I can even take the last couple weeks off. Like end of July, beginning of August.
That's because I was saying it literally goes. Okay, you get about 10 days after NHL free agency. Then everyone goes to their camps or where they're fishing huts in Canada, and then there's nothing for about 2 weeks. As Josh, I'm sure surely knows when he's come up with all those. And I'm stuck doing summer programming. And it's like, and then there's camp, but there's 2 weeks when all there is golf or tennis or some other horse crap I got to pretend to care about.
I can't pretend to care. If I don't like the sport, it doesn't even exist to me. It's like the NBA. I'm like, I literally non-existent. And it doesn't mean I don't like the sport. I love college basketball. I don't know. It just doesn't exist. Not even on my radar. Me and my wife were out to eat last night and she was like, is the NBA All-Star game today? And because it was on the TV, and I was like, I have no idea. Like I don't.
Oh, and the winning dunk. They showed the winning dunk about Mike. The winning dunk was like, I mean, it was terrible.
I think I could have pulled that off if I trained for a week. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, like literally, like a white guy could have done that.
Point taken. Yeah, I mean, like the NBA really sucks right now. By the way,
It's terrible.
It's not a good product at all.
Terrible.
All the more reason for the NHL to try to take advantage and get more fans because.
Well, that's like Chuck Barkley's like he's doing NBA games, telling people he's watching the hockey game.
I know. He loves hockey. He really does.
I know.
Yeah,
he's a Flyer fan, though. So, sorry, Chuck. But this is the 3 weeks. What are they doing? They came off the incredible outdoor game, like the most watched regular season game in ESPN history. And what do? They take 3 weeks off
so everybody can watch games in their pajamas.
I assume nobody's even watching them. Most people like go to work and stuff, and all it's just the way it is.
They watch the highlights later.
And I didn't pay for no one loves hockey more than me. No one loves Sid more. I just like you're not getting $20 for premium Peacock.
You know what's funny? I have Peacock, and the only reason I have it, I got pissed off when I found out that the Packers-Ravens game was only on Peacock like back in December, so I just said screw it and bought it. I'm like, oh, good, I have all the Olympic stuff now, but I'm too stupid to figure out like where I actually can find it on Peacock. So, yeah, it's not the best setup. I remember the old days when everything was just on NBC and it was okay, and they showed all the important events. It was fun.
And they actually showed the events instead of doing like human interest pieces.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Corey, you'll love this. I had Peacock for a year because one time to get people to buy Peacock, they put Michigan's first game only on Peacock. Fraser Smith, a diehard Michigan fan, freaked out. Goes, "Can you have Peacock?" I go, "Fraser, come over. I'll buy it for you."
That's how they
get it. You couldn't get the wrestling. I was like, "Oh, I'll watch all the." I mean, I don't like new wrestling, but I love Ric Flair and all. They were like, "Say, oh, you can watch Ric Flair." It's like, no, you had to pay the premium. That I'm like, no, not doing
that. What a fractured system we live in.
Damn right.
Hold on a second. Siri off. Siri off.
It's actually happening. This is great.
Yeah, my mom's Siri goes off at 5 o'clock every day. They play like into the 70s. You guys
Ange is the best.
We can't hear.
Ange is the best.
Well, hey, let's hope next week we're sitting here. We'll be getting ready for a game, but we'll also be hopefully talking about a gold medal winning U.S. Olympic team. Sorry, Sid. But that'll do it for us here on Two for Talking. We will talk to you guys next week.